Hey guys, this is your last lesson video from Mr. Bergman, um, and it is on triangular prisms and finding the volume for them. Okay, so it's the last thing I got for you this year. Um, so make sure you pay attention. No blurting, no attitudes. You know the deal. All right, triangular prisms. We just went over finding rectangular prisms and the volume, and the equation for that is length times width times height. Okay, so looking at this, here's my triangular prism, but here's my volume equation. The only difference in it, and I know there's a glare here. There's always a glare. Okay, the difference is you have a half. Okay, you times it by half. So essentially, what you're going to do is you're going to take length times width times height, and then you're going to either times by half, or if you remember during the year we talked about when you times by half, you're really just dividing by 2. Okay, I like to divide by 2. You can divide by half, whatever you want to do. So let's find our length times width times height. So our length is 4 centimeters. Our width is 2 centimeters. And our height, now this one's kind of a hard one to see, but this is the height right here. It's a line right down the middle of the triangle, just showing you obviously how tall it is, but it is going to be 3 centimeters. Now note, we haven't done any math, we just wrote this out, and we haven't times by half or divided by a half at all yet. Okay. 4 times 2 is 8. That's 8 centimeters. I haven't done anything with 3 centimeters yet. 8 centimeters times 3 centimeters is 24 centimeters. Okay, so we did, this is your length, width, and height right here. The next thing is, because it's a triangular prism, is we have to either times by half or divide by 2. Now remember I said I like to divide by 2. 24 divided by 2 will give me, I'm going to write over here so it's in the screen, obviously 12 centimeters cubed. Okay, so remember the big difference is you're dividing by 2 or you're timesing by half. Okay, so that's what triangular prisms. Note, that's a pretty important equation to write down when you're doing triangular prisms. Okay, so don't be afraid to write that down somewhere on a piece of paper, on notes, or anything like that. Next one, I'm going to draw this next one, so bear with me here. Blue. Okay, triangular prism. With that being said, I'm going to write our numbers down. So we have a height. Our height is going to be this dotted line back here of 5.5. 2.5. And then the last thing is we haven't done this part right here. And that's going to be 2 centimeters. Oh, we haven't done any centimeters. Just 2. Okay, hopefully you guys can see that. So now, same process here. The only difference is now you have decimals. Okay, and I don't know if you guys have figured this out, but I obviously can't see if you're using calculators in this, so that could be possibility. But we're gonna not use a calculator in here, so I can review multiplying decimals. So multiplying decimals, we have a length times width times height. Our length is going to be 2.5 here. Our height is going to be 5.5, and our width is going to be 2. Okay. So with that being said, I'm going to take two numbers. I'm going to take the 2.5 and 2. We're going to multiply those out. So 2.5 times 2 is 5 times 2 is 10. Carry the 1. 2 times 2 is 4. Plus 1 is 5. And then if you remember, we look how many digits are to the right of all the decimals. And in this case, it's 1. So we move over 1. So 2.5 times 2 is going to be 5. And that makes sense. $2.50 plus $2.50 is $5. So now that we know it's $5, or it's 5, sorry, we're not talking about money too much here. But 5.0 times 5.5, that's the last one we have to multiply. 0 times 5 is 0. 5 times 5 is 25. Start the second line with a 0. 0 times 5 is 0. And 25 again. And we add 0, 5, 7, 2. And we have 1, 2 digits to the right of these decimals. So we start here. 1, 2. Actually, my apologies, guys. Let me start over here. I have 2 decimal places right here, digits to the right of decimal places. So I go 1, 2. Okay. So our volume for this is 27.5. Which, if you remember when we estimated 5 times 5 is about 20, or is 25. So when you're doing a decimal, 27.5 would make sense. So our volume here would be 27.5 units cubed. We did units. There's no centimeters or meters or anything like that because we didn't write them down. That's really it for triangular prisms and finding the volume for them. I'm going to let you know that in your book on the Google Forms that we're doing here, there is some questions that have more than just 3 numbers on them. So with that being said, you're going to have to look through and see which ones are the height, okay, and see which ones are the width and the length. And if you get confused on them, you can always go look back in the examples in the book as well. But there's some questions like that, some questions that aren't. Check them out. If you have any questions, you know who to reach. But like I said, this is your last video for me, for lessons at least. And then you are math masters of 6th grade. Okay. Good luck, guys. Let me know if you have any questions. All right, bye.